So now we've got our shop scroll list class, I think everything that we need. And we just need to add a way for our buttons to be able to interact with it. And so if we look at the buttons, if we look at the button prefab, the button component has this list of on-click events. And we can manually populate functions to call when the button is clicked by just clicking the plus button, dragging a game object, and choosing a function from the list, right? Choosing a public function. But we can also set this up via script. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the function that's going to be called via script in the sample button class. So let's jump back over to that. We're going to go to sample button, and we are going to add a public function that returns void. And this definitely needs to be public. And it's going to be called handle click. And it is going to call scroll list dot try transfer item, the longest function name ever, item. Right? So somebody, I can't remember who, was asking, why are we passing in a scroll list here? This is why, right? Because we want our button to be able to call this transfer item function on the scroll list that it is currently attached to. And then in start, we're just going to add button dot on click. So the on-click event or an on-click event for our button, we're going to add a listener, and that is going to be for handle click. So now, not handheld, come on now. So now in start, it's going to add a listener, and then when we click the button now, handle click will be called. Handle click will call the try transfer item function of our scroll list, and hopefully everything works. So let's save. And now the other thing that we need to do before we can test is to set up our 2 copies of our scroll shop. So let me just make sure I've set all my public variables besides the other shop, which I have. Good. Okay, so now we can just duplicate. I'm just going to select scroll shop A, hit Control D because I'm on Windows, Command D on Mac, and change its name to scroll shop B. And I'm just going to anchor it to the left and give it a little exposition away from the edge. And now we just need to set those 2 other shop variables. So we're going to navigate to the content object, select it, and drag the other content object to the other shop field, and then vice versa, select this content object and drag this one in. Now, just for fun, let's make these have a different list of items. So I'm going to just up the number of items in, let's put them in scroll shop B because that's kind of like the NPC store. We're just going to set this to, set this to 33. So it's just going to duplicate all these hats. We're going to have lots. It's going to be a hat store. And now I think we should be good. Let's play. Yes. So now we can see we have our list over here. And if I sell my bomb, I get 2 gold. The shop loses 2 gold. And now there's a bomb at the bottom of the list. I can buy a hat. I can scroll up and buy a coin and a bomb. And hats, 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 until I run out of money. Now I have 3 gold. I can't buy this hat or this hat because these are cost 4. But if I sell back a coin, I can buy another hat. And yeah, so that is the basic idea with creating a shop UI with runtime scroll lists. I hope you found it helpful. We added a little content from the last training session because the workflow is simplified, so it didn't take me as long to actually set up the scroll list. So hopefully that was interesting for you guys. Obviously, you're going to need to do, some additional scripting to hook this into your game logic if you want to add a shop to your game. But I think you've got a decent little system here to do it. And hopefully you found it interesting. I'm going to hang out and take some further questions from the chat. And thanks for watching. Averall asks, how can we remove the bar but still scroll the list? Yeah, you can do that by, if we go to the scroll view, I'll do it for shop A, you can just set the visibility to auto hide. And that should just get rid of it automatically. Oh, let's do it for the other one. I mean, I think you can also just get rid of them if you don't want them. Is that going to do it? No. Oh, wait. This one got hidden. Oh, but that's because it should be hidden. I'm pretty sure you can just disable them, actually. Let's just try to turn them... Whoops. Let's try to turn them off. What am I doing? Disable. Oh, no, it doesn't want to disable them. Oh, that's interesting. You definitely can turn them off. I thought that setting them to... permanent will keep them on all the time. Let's see if we set this to none. And then disable them. Yeah, or just delete them, to be honest. I don't want to delete mine, but yeah, there you go. So if the Scroll Rect is trying to control them, you can't disable them, but if you set them to none, you can. Kuno Naoni asks, what do you recommend as a good container for items, lists, or arrays? I think array, there's some issues with dynamically resizing arrays. So lists preferably, because lists are more friendly to that. So I would say lists. If you want something with dynamic length, if you knew there was only ever going to be 10 slots, you could use an array find. Somebody recommends gameprogrammingpatterns.com. That sounds promising. C. Strachan wants to see the settings on the Scroll Rect. This is the one where I disabled the scroll bars. I just set the horizontal vertical scroll bars to none and then disabled them. You could obviously delete them as well. I just didn't want to delete them. Yeah, as Coach Carter says, if your list of items is going to change, you probably want to list. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the mic and I'll leave the chat open. If anybody thinks of any last minute questions, I'll type in an answer. But thanks again for joining. Always great to see some new people in the chat, and always a pleasure to see the regulars as well. And I will be back in 2 weeks with a beginner-friendly live training about creating a quiz game, which even for those of you who are a little more advanced, the beyond the basic idea of it, it's going to be about separating the game layer and the data layer. So we could have like different banks of questions, or, you know, we could have a quiz that's about dinosaurs and one that's about cats or whatever. And so kind of showing some best practices around managing games that use data. And so it's going to be beginner friendly, but I think there will also be some interesting best practice stuff in there for the people who are more advanced. And I'm going to be working with my colleague, Carrie Turner, on that. She's actually going to write the example for that. So I'm quite interested to see what she does. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.